And we've spoken about the potential uses of blockchain many times on the broadcast, but one company is now doing something different. They are efforting to bring the features of technology investment in a major bank, including raising money for clients through syndicated deals, to greater popularity and acceptance. It's a new and creative concept that is brought to us from RT's Brent Jabbour.
So we are a security token platform. In essence, we're like an investment bank 2.0. So pretty much all the top management comes from investment banking. And we kind of like married investment banking with blockchain and crypto. So we see ourselves as a new investment bank for blockchain and crypto. And we have our own technology platform as well too, where we raise money in form of security tokens for customers.
And how does investment banking work when it comes to blockchain and crypto?
Right, yeah. So when the craziness of ICO took place in 2017, pretty much everybody was trying to raise money for companies across the board, marketing companies, social media companies, and it was completely not regulated. And then the SEC in 2018, at the beginning of 2018, pretty much stepped in and said, stop, all these ICOs are really securities, and you guys need to run them under the securities law which we have in the United States. And so that's where we came into place as an investment bank, or as a technology investment bank, where we raised money for clients through our platform since 2013, where we syndicate deals from private investors and raise money from private investors directly for companies. And we use the technology platform to do that, to bring investors together directly with companies on the technology, just like Airbnb or Uber does. And then the landscape completely started to change from the ICO to the security token market, where all these tokens are now considered really securities.
Can you explain to me the difference between like the ICO versus the STO?
Right. So in essence, when you do an ICO and you give people, investors, a token, that token really, it was supposed to be a utility token. So it was a token which was supposed to be utilized on the network which they were riding on. And it was supposed to be for the community in order to use it as a form of payment or as a form of participating in this community. What happens is that a lot of people started to speculate on these exchanges with these tokens. And so that's really when it becomes a security, when you start speculating with these kind of tokens. And so what happens is that the SEC said, look, these are all considered securities. So in essence, you give people a promise of financial benefit in the future, and then it's considered to be a security.
And what role has regulation played in all this? I mean, you mentioned that the SEC did this, right, but how has regulation played into everything that's been going on, number one, with cryptos and with blockchain in general? Right,
yeah. So when the SEC stepped in, the market really kind of like went into a little bit of a shock. Because what the SEC also did is they stepped in, and some bigger ICOs, they had to really retract, right? So people had to give, the companies had to give the money back, for example, and they shut a lot of these ICOs down. And so what you need to do is, in the US, for example, if you want to do a regular security token offering, then you have to be a broker-dealer, for example, to do that. So you have to have a broker-dealer license. You have to do KYC and AML, meaning you have to do all the checks which are necessary when you run a security offering. You have to bring out a certain prospectus, which is called private placement memorandum. So you have to do a lot of things. At the end of the day, it's really to protect the investors. So, for example, a private placement memorandum pretty much tells the investors, well, too, what all the risks are involved, just like when you go and do a public offering as an IPO. And that's, I think, the main difference is when the regulator stepped in and said we really have to protect the investors, because a lot of people got scammed out of the, ran into scams with the ICO as well, too.
What do you see as the impediments of this type of investment banking within the crypto world?
We believe it's going to change the whole financial industry, actually. So if you really think about it, what we're undergoing in the financial industry, I always give the example of, we had a flip phone. I'm old enough to still have a flip phone. And now we're really now we're switching over to a smartphone, right? Meaning that we have different applications which help us managing certain tasks a lot more efficient than we could ever do. Same thing happens in the financial industry. Now in the financial industry, we have smart contract, we can tokenize, we have the technology to do so, to pretty much lift a regular security onto the blockchain and create a digital security out of it. A digital security which then forms a contractual relationship between a company and an investor, which can be much more complex than just saying, hey, I'm going to give you some equity, and you give me some money and I give you some equity of my company. Now you can say, hey, I might give you some equity, but I'll also let you participate in my revenue stream, or I let you participate in my profit, or I give you a discount on my product. So all of that you can now embed in that smart contract and can form that contractual relationships, and you can actually manage it because it's a little computer program in essence. So it's just like an app on your phone. And now you can actually manage the whole process. So you can manage a fairly complex structure, and you can manage 10,000 different investors all of a sudden. And so we think the whole financial industry will essentially switch from regular share certificates as we know them of today to really digital share certificates, which can be much more flexible and is actually a much better financial product.
After the kind of bust, I mean, I'm sure it wasn't a full bust, but you know, about a year and a half ago, we saw Bitcoin hit 20,000, and then had to take a sharp spike down. Was that over inflation? Did that concern the market?
Yeah, I do think so. I mean, it was just a complete hype. I mean, I lived through the e-commerce times as well, too. And at the time, I remember everybody put a .com behind their company. All of a sudden, you know, got crazy valuations. So I think it was the hype in general and the excitement about Bitcoin and crypto. But I do think, nevertheless, I mean, no matter what the price and how much the price is going to fluctuate, I think it's still the much better concept. The idea of having a currency across borders, which, you know, I can be from China, or I can be from Russia, or I can be wherever from, and be able to really instantly make a payment and participate in an investment in real estate or whatever it is in the US, and do that with crypto. That's just it's a change of behavior, and it's just a much better way. For us, in what we do, when we create these digital securities or these security token offerings, it's like you can still buy such a digital security with regular money, but you can also buy it with crypto. So the price of crypto is not, or Bitcoin is not directly related to what we do. It's just another form of payment, and essentially it's a better form of payment than having to use cash or having to use fiat.
What a fascinating interview. We appreciate Brent's time, and we wish Michael very much luck.